Kidzone. Are you coming? I was going to grab a snack.
Oh, guys, what are you doing in the kitchen? Why are you in my kitchen cupboard? You can't be messing around in there. We've got to get on and do Kidzone. Come on, out you come. Right, well, good morning and welcome to Kidzone. Now let's stand up and join in with the Action Angels.
I'm reading my B.I.B. early, and this is what it says to me. It tells me that I'm never ever alone. I'm learning how Jesus came down to us and gave his best. Without a doubt, the best friend you'll ever know. Our God knows exactly what I need, so I remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. Oh, oh. I'm reading my B.I.B. early, and this is what it says to me. It tells me that I'm never ever alone. I'm learning how Jesus came down to us and gave his best. Without a doubt, the best friend you'll ever know. Our God knows exactly what I need, so I remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. Oh, whoa. When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. Exactly what I need, so I remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. When you ask, he cares. When you seek, he's there. When you knock, 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 God opens up the door. You opened up the door. You opened up the door. Oh,
Well, now that we've worshipped and started our morning and you're not in my kitchen cupboard anymore, let's head on over to the chair and see what we're going to be looking at today.
Okay, so we are in a different chair today because, as you might have seen as you were in my kitchen cupboard for some reason this morning, I have a dining room table, which is very exciting. So that chair is no longer in that corner. So I'm now in this chair in this corner. So we are exploring all corners of my house. But anyway, over these past couple of weeks, we have been doing a memory verse, and I know lots of you have been learning it at home, and do make sure that you learn it really, really well. And then when you're ready, send me in that video clip and I will send you a prize in the post. But let's read our memory verse together, and it's going to come up here on the screen as well. Through his power, all things were made, things in heaven and on earth, things seen and unseen. All powers, authorities, lords and rulers, all things were made through Christ and for Christ. Colossians 1 verse 16. So do make sure that you're really, really learning that one, as I've got lots of prizes that I want to hand out to you. Now, I have got a question for you today, and that question is, what is the best thing you have ever waited for? Maybe it was a really big birthday, maybe a really big party, or a present, or for a medal maybe, or for you to pass an exam, or maybe even a brother or a sister. Maybe you waited a really, really long time for something. So go ahead and pause this video and have a discussion, or just think about it in your heads as what is that thing you have really waited for? Okay, so we have all waited for things in our lives. Sometimes it can feel like we're waiting forever and ever and ever. But most of the time, it always does get there eventually. And so I think it is time for our silly game. So let's head on over to the kitchen and see what Josh and I get up to today. Okay, so for our silly game today in Kidzone, Josh, we are going to do a waiting challenge.
Waiting.
Waiting.
Like lifting weights.
No, you have to wait to eat your cake.
Wow.
So we have to wait a whole 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then if we eat this slice of cake, we're allowed to have the rest of the cake as well.
Okay.
You can have it now or later. But if we don't wait 10 minutes, then we don't get it, basically.
Okay.
And we have to go give the cake to someone else.
It smells so good though.
I know. So can you, Alexa, set a 10-minute timer?
10 minutes, starting now.
A few moments later.
It smells good, doesn't it? Yeah, make sure you don't catch your hair on fire.
Few inches later.
Wait. What? Don't eat the cake.
I'm so hungry. It smells so good.
I can feel it. Feels nice.
Yeah, but you shouldn't really play with your food.
Well, you know, I was going to try and cook it a little bit, you know.
It's already cooked.
Oh.
Now you're making a mess.
So you know, just want to toast the cake a little bit. Does it taste better?
Well, you can't eat it, so it'll just be cold toasted cake.
Oh yeah.
12 seconds later.
Can we like lick it?
No, you can't lick the cake either. Oh, it smells so good.
I love this banana cake. Alexa, how long's left on our timer?
You have 8 minutes left and 10-minute timer.
Another 8 minutes.
Oh.
1 eternity later.
That wasn't my beat.
I was adding to the beat.
But you're not adding to my cake.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
I think I need some water.
Some water?
Very good.
Works every time.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we could like click the cake away so we don't have to look at it.
Then we can't eat it though.
But then we might be able to click it back.
Or a chicken will arrive here.
It's a bit too risky, isn't it?
I don't know. Honestly, there were so many chickens.
No, I don't really like that chicken.
No more chickens. I had 3 in one go. And I have a funny feeling there's going to be no more Easter eggs.
Eventually.
I hope that timer is almost up.
I'm so hungry.
Feels like the time for it. Come on.
Come on.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Alexa, stop.
Say grace! What's wrong with you? Say grace before you eat the food.
So sorry.
I know we waited 10 minutes. Oh, right.
Sorry.
Okay.
1 minute 37 seconds later.
Dear Lord, thank you for this food we're about to receive. Thank you for the gift of time. Thank you that we're able to enjoy it and all the time you've given us. Amen.
Amen.
This was worth a 10.5 minute wait.
Bro. Right, well, let's head back to the chair and see what else we get up to today. I hope you enjoyed our silly game, and we had to wait a very, very long time to eat our cake. But I wonder how long you lasted waiting to eat your treat as well. So today's story is about how God gave a promise to an old man and a woman. And even they didn't think it was possible, but God proved them wrong. And what they had waited for many, many years finally came true. So head on over to YouTube and we are going to search for the story of Abraham and Sarah. And it's called God's Story, Abraham and Sarah. And come on back when you're ready. And so Abraham and Sarah did not believe that they could have a baby. They had tried to have a baby for years and years and years. But it just never happened for them. And they prayed to God and asked him, but it didn't happen. And so God gave Abraham and Sarah a promise. And many, many years later, after waiting for so many years, Abraham was nearly 100 years old, and Sarah would have been around 90 years old. He told them that they would have as many descendants as there are grains of sand at the beach, or as many stars as there are in the sky. And when Sarah was told that, she laughed. How could somebody that old have a baby? It was impossible. Yet God kept his promise to Abraham and Sarah. And Sarah became pregnant, and they had their baby son called Isaac. And as our video showed us, Isaac grew up and he had kids, and they had children, and they had children, and they had children. And eventually Jesus was born, and all of God's promises came true. So God kept his promise. And not only did he keep it, but he also made the impossible possible. Now, a few weeks ago, when we were doing our science experiments, we looked at the story of Noah, and there we can see another promise that God has made. He has promised to never flood the earth again, and we know that with the symbol of the rainbow. So, I wonder what other promises we can think of. Why don't you go ahead and pause this video now and think what other promises God has made to us. God has made so many promises. Not only has he made the promise to Noah that we looked at a while back, and the promise that we've looked at today with Abraham and Sarah, but he also promised to never leave us, that we'll never have to face a challenge that we can't overcome, that he will always love us, that when we invite Jesus into our lives, we will receive eternal life. And there are so many other promises as well. So I wonder how many of us have made a promise. I've made a promise, and I think you've made a promise as well. But I wonder how many of us have always kept that promise. Always. See, I haven't. I've made promises where I've said, oh yeah, I'll pray for you, and I haven't. Or, oh yeah, I promise that I'll help on that day, and I haven't. Or, oh yeah, I promise that I'll be there tomorrow, and something else has come up. Or, I've promised to be really kind to somebody, and then maybe they've done something and they've hurt me. Or maybe I've promised to do something else and I've broken it. We have all made promises and we all break them. And that's because, as we looked at over the past 2 weeks with Adam and Eve, we are all sinners. We have sin inside of us. When Adam and Eve first ate that apple, they put sin into all of us, and we now know the knowledge of good and evil. However, through God and through Jesus, we are made perfect, as we looked at again last week. God is perfect, he is sinless, and he always keeps his promises. And so we can know that God always keeps his promises, even when we mess up and fail to keep all of our promises. God always keeps them. And there's a really special symbol that we can have as a sign that God is always with us. And that's the sign of a ring. I've got 2 rings here. but this is the pretty one. And this ring represents that I will always be with Josh, that I will always love him, cherish him, protect him, and be with him for as long as we both live. And Josh has got his ring as well as a reminder to him that he will always be with me, that he will always love, protect, cherish, love, and be with me until he dies as well. And we wear those rings on our hands so that every day we are reminded of the promise that we made on that special day. And that's the same as when we become a Christian. Although we don't have that physical symbol of the promises that God has given us, they are always there. And they're always there in creation as well. When we look around, we can see all of God's promises. We can see the rainbow that he has given us. We can see the sun in the sky. We can see all of the stars at night, all the sand at the beach. That God's promises are always yes. And so let's go ahead and pause this video now and have a discussion or just think about some questions in your homes and come on back when you're ready. Well done. I do hope you've had a good discussion or maybe just thought about those questions in your heads. But it is now time to worship, and so let's stand up and join in with the Action Angels.
Wrestling in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Tomorrow brings. With each morning I'll rise and sing. My God's love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are my light, my lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore.
Well done for worshipping along with us. Now, why not spend some time praying in your families? And when we were doing our science experiments, we had lots of fun making a planetarium of stars in our bedrooms, didn't we? So let's check out this clip to remind us how to do it. So for today, you will need a cereal box or any kind of packing box that you've got in your house. You will need a torch, and you will also need a pair of scissors. And so taking your pair of scissors, use a sharp edge to make lots of holes in the top, and do get a grown up to help you. And so taking your box and putting all of your stars in your bedroom, why not spend some time praying to God, saying thank you that you keep all of your promises, that you promised Abraham and Sarah that they would have more children than there are stars in the sky, and we know that that has come true. And maybe you've got something that you're waiting for God to answer, or maybe God's given you a promise. Why don't you spend time just praying to God and lifting up all of your worries or concerns to him and thanking him that he is always with us and he never breaks a promise. I hope you have a really great week, and do make sure that you check in on Wednesday, Thursday or Friday for Kidzone Lives, depending on what age you are, and come back next week as we continue in our silly games, and do send in your memory verses so that I can send you all a very special prize. Have a great week. Bye.